We are live. Welcome to the RG Dfs Tournament Takes podcast. I'm your host, Chris Kirkwood. Just reading Kirk B's here for the Week 18 edition with my boys. We've come this far, finally, to the last week of the season. Derek Farnsworth, notorious one from RG, just must be you must be up to date on all of the milestones that we're going to talk about today and the incentives. I know you're a big incentives guy. So we've got that. We've got Bobby Gomes, sim master himself, ready to give us some lessons on NBA. We're going to talk NFL Week 18. I don't know. This slate is hard for me, so I'm interested to hear how excited you guys are about this one. But how's it going, fellas?
It's going fantastic. Happy to be here. Noto, how's it going over there in Utah?
Yeah, it's going good. If everyone played Tyrod and Slayton last week, like myself, ended up being a good week.
I played Tyrod and Slayton, but also played McCaffrey and Tyreek Hill. So,
yeah. McCaffrey hurt me too, but it was a good week. And hey, we got some good news. The people love the tournament takes so much that we're coming back for the playoffs. They're bringing us back. So.
Oh yeah, we're going to be there for the divisional round. We will be absolutely ready for that. It's not hard when you get just a smaller slate. I feel like then we're going to crush it. Today feels a little overwhelming. We're going to do our best for everyone because we got to deal with playoff implications, motivation, who's sitting, who's starting. You know, we've got guys. So we're going to be talking about chalk guys with the names Pierre Strong. Jordan Mason. These are guys we haven't mentioned the entire season, but these are guys that are going to get their time to shine, and so hopefully we'll navigate you the right way. But all right, let's just get right to it. So we look at this overall, the big picture here. Like I said, it's all motivation, it's all contract incentives. Now, a lot of this stuff means nothing. It's just a bunch of written contracts incentives that are pretty much unattainable, or like the teams don't even care. But there are coaches that do care. There are players. Remember, like with the Tom Brady and Gronk, Gronk, there's a famous meeting with them, Gronk on the sideline being like, Tom, I need one more catch. And he went back out there and Tom got it for him. He's like, I need it for $1 million. We have a couple of situations like that. Who was I reading? Oh, so Jordan Love, if he stays as a top 10 in passing yards, and he's currently number 10, 40 yards ahead of Jalen Hurts, then he will get $1 million. I think $1 million matters to people, but when we start talking to 100,000 on some of these guys, like I don't think that's a big deal to a lot of these things. So a lot of it can be hocus pocus, but some of it's real. I remember I got buried on George Kittle last week of the season one year because of they just fed him to try to get him the record, and I'll never forget that. So anyways, here we are. So big picture overview, Noto, how's the slate looking to you?
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's kind of the information slate where we're just going to be looking at the injury report, looking at the beat writers, what they're saying. But luckily, I mean, it seems like more teams have something to play for than most years at this point. Some people are fighting for the playoffs. We have a ton of teams still, technically alive, and then other teams fighting for playoff positioning. There's a couple that probably should be resting their guys, like the Lions. But Dan Campbell doesn't seem like he wants to do that. So that's kind of a tough situation for me. But, a lot of teams have already announced resting players, which helps. So I think it should be fairly straightforward. A lot of value. I think the key to the slate is going to be picking the right punts that we don't know a lot about, just because there's a lot of options. And if there's one 3K receiver that's going to be 30%, probably just switch to another one.
Right, you mentioning Christian Kirk, teasing Christian Kirk, are we, Noto?
Well, Kirk's like an actual good receiver. I'm talking about like the other guys that, like the Chris Conleys or whoever ends up being the chalk that's like a bad receiver that's just getting more playing time. But yeah, I mean, if Kirk plays, it's hard not to go with him. He's only 4K on FanDuel too, so I don't know why sites do that with good players. Like, just keep them at their current price when they go in IR. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Surprise! He's not even existent on Yahoo. Surprise!
And that's weird because Yahoo has like every golfer every single week. Like every golfer in the world is in their player pool.
It's so funny how that site works. Like, so like when they, so like say, and it's all about like, what have you done for me lately? So like, say like in baseball, there's like a rookie who gets called up and he hits a home run his first day. The next day he's like max price. Like he's higher than like Mike Trout. He's higher than everybody. It's pretty funny. But Bobby, you all prepared? How you liking this slate?
Yeah, the information slate. For me, I just think like everyone's going to try to force in like the Masons, the Strongs. And I think I'm going to be more, not like I'm definitely mixing those guys in, but I like to focus on teams that, or guys from teams that actually have or need to win, right? Like a guy like Rashad White, Kamara, like I want to get Tony Pollard, like we're going to get a running back in a second, but really players that their teams are incentivized to basically win this week, mixing those guys in along with the chalk. That's kind of how I'm approaching the slate.
Nice. All right. So looking out from high total games first, looks like the highest total is Seattle at Arizona. Then we've got the Cowboys up there too. The Cowboys at Washington. Cowboys have everything to play for, because they it's pretty much a big game for them that they should be able to control anyway. If they win, they lock in the 2 seed and the division. So should be very important. And I could see them running up the score on Washington. Great matchup for Dak and company. Other high totals, we've got Green Bay in a must-win situation for the playoffs, 45-point total at home against the Bears. Feels like Justin Fields wants to win this game, right? Like he wants to stay, with Chicago, as opposed to all the drama about whether you think it's right that they should go for the pick and draft with their pick, get a top new quarterback. Or I personally think Fields is good, but I know that's the majority says that they should as the other side. Lions, Minnesota. Nick Mullins is going to be quarterbacking Minnesota. Lions, like Noto mentioned, Dan Campbell, football guy, big blowhard guy, meathead, ready to. It doesn't look like he's going to lay down, right? It looks like he wants to keep the momentum going and all of that stuff. And so that game should play out potentially with full motivation.
Can we talk about that 2-point conversion?
Go for it.
The Cowboys.
Yeah, go for it.
Did he just lose his mind?
The 7-yard line. I have no idea what he was doing.
Was he just so mad that they called the penalty? The penalty was bad, right? The play should have stood, but man, he must have just lost it. And then there was another penalty from the 7-yard line. They got it at the 3 and they went for it again. That was wild.
I had the money line, I think. Yeah, that was definitely wild. Where's the key game? Is it not on this? When does Houston play?
Saturday night.
Yeah, that's the night.
They're on the gamer.
And then in Pitt, that's okay. That game has a lot of playoff implications. All right. Whatever, we'll get right to it. We'll do like we normally do, and then we'll try to add some contract incentive, bonus, motivation, all that stuff to the games while we're going along. But we will start at the running back position. We'll go to quarterback, stack it up with our wide receivers, talk about some tight ends, some defenses. But man, this is going to be wild slate. So let's just get right into it. At the running back position, Jordan Mason looks like he's going to be extreme chalk. He is everything indicates that he is going to be the bell cow for San Francisco, who had nothing left to play for this week against the Rams. The same, so he should get a huge workload. Then there's Pierre Strong, who's going to be playing for Cleveland. Now, who's quarterback in Cleveland? It's not Flacco. It's going to be
Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah, so I don't expect much heavy. So it seems like a good spot to just feed Pierre Strong all game. Against the Bengals. Zamir White is going to be chalk because I think you can count on Vegas to play for their coach. And And Denver. Sean Payton was talking a lot about contract incentives on the other side, so we'll get into some of those things. But Zamir White looks like he's going to get his 20 carries, so that's a huge workload on a slate like this. Tony Pollard, because that's still Dallas. The game means a lot. Like they lock up the 2 seed. James Conner looks like Arizona's going to keep playing. They haven't quit yet, and he's been chugging along. Aaron Jones in a must-win game against Chicago, and Dylan is out. I always like Aaron Jones, so if I had to guess who's going to bury me this week, it's probably going to be Aaron Jones, but I'll be on him. Kenneth Walker, Seattle has everything to play for against Arizona. And then a bunch of other ones. I'm not sure if you got more plays than that, but how's it looking to you at the running back position, Noto?
Yeah, I'll say Rachaad White for Bobby because I know he likes him. I think it's a really good spot for him as well. I'll start with Aaron Jones. I agree with you, Kirk. I think he's in a really good spot. The Bears, very good run defense, but they have allowed the 8th most fantasy points to running backs, and that's because they are dead last in every receiving metric for running backs, receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. So the Packers would be smart to get Jones more involved in the passing game this week. You mentioned the must-win. Price point's pretty good. A.J. Dillon's out. So I do like Aaron Jones quite a bit. The cheap guys, yeah, I like Pierre Strong, like Jordan Mason. Mason's kind of been a special teamer all year, so I do think we're going to see Shanahan give him the bulk of the work against LA. And on the other side of that game, doesn't look like Ronnie Rivers is getting as much love as those other 2 cheap guys. And Kyron's going to be out. Rams have just as much motivation as the Niners, which is not any. So I could see Ronnie Rivers being a nice pivot off of one of those 2. I like Pollard, pretty good matchup for him against Washington. Everyone's going to be playing the passing game, so you can get some leverage there, or you can play him with Dak. And then, there's so many good running back plays, but I like Zamir White as well. He's been running hard, and it was nice to see the last 2 games. So they were ahead in weeks 16, and he got a bunch of carries, and then they were behind last week, and he got a bunch of targets. So kind of going to think he's going to be involved no matter what. Bobby, what about you?
Yeah, so for me, Noto hit on White. They're incentivized to win. I think they want to get the offense right with Baker, Evans, Rachaad White. Their usage is condensed. I'm going to be interested in these chalk running backs like Mason, Pierre Strong. You mentioned Rivers. I think he's interesting to get closer just to bump up his exposure because I feel like his ownership's going to be a little bit depressed relative to the chalk guys like Mason, Pierre Strong. So just getting him right around that range. I feel like him and Strong probably project pretty similar. Kamara versus Atlanta. I think he's in play at 7,500. They're also incentivized to win. Don't mind him at all. Kenneth Walker, Seattle, Noto hit on him. James Conner, I think, is an interesting pivot off of chalk Zamir White. Just because if you listen to the interview Conner had last week after the game when they beat Philly or whatever, he was basically saying as a team, they're trying to grind it out. So I don't mind getting to Conner because I do think that team's playing for pride. They played all season. Early on the season, they had a lot of very hard fought games, and I could just see them trying to just finish out the season strong. So I don't mind Conner. If Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be, if we expect Detroit to roll everyone out, I don't hate Gibbs, but he would definitely fall behind White, Kamara, Pollard, and Conner for me, I would say. And that's pretty much the running back position. If I had to rank them, it'd be White, Kamara, Walker, Pollard, and then mixing in the chalk guys, Mason, Strong, Rivers. Hubbard's down at 5.5. Wonder how much ownership he's going to get. He could be an interesting pivot off of the Masons or the Pierre Strongs. I'll probably have more Rivers and Howard than I probably should at the end of the day, but I just think that they're good ways to differentiate yourself on the slate off the regular chalk.
I'll add a couple of things here. So Aaron Jones, what strikes me, so if Jordan Love has a bunch of, so first of all, we know how good Aaron Jones is in the passing game, but they don't use him in the passing game. At least they haven't really this year much. But like if Jordan Love's smart, he needs to rack up for $1 million bonus in the passing. They need it as a must win. Like just rack up those screen yards to Aaron Jones. Just get him in a little bit of space and just keep feeding him. So I know
Jones's receiving prop is 11.5 yards. It's my biggest prop bet of the year so far. All
right, I'm in.
So far.
Let's do it. Let's go.
They're giving up like a ton of receiving yards to the running backs in the passing game.
Dead last.
Then someone else that nobody mentioned. So Joe Mixon, another one we love to play, needs 147 rushing yards to become the second leading all-time Bengal rusher. So he's got a statistical milestone. He also has a bunch of incentives too. Let me see where they are. He's got a bunch. Like he can rack up a ton of money in this game if things go well. He needs 2 TDs for $100,000. He needs, now I don't know how much really $100,000 means to him, but there was something else here too. I think he needed some yardage. I don't know, but he's got the milestones on his side. No one's going to play him. He's playing against Cleveland backups. Any interest there?
I don't know what to do with any of the Browns or the Bengals, to be honest.
I'm off the Bengals.
I have him written down as someone.
What about Bijan in the big game?
Yeah, why not?
I'm worried about like what his upside is. Like Tyler Algier last week, it was a good matchup for actually it was the same matchup Aaron Jones is going to find himself in this week. Tyler Algier catches the 70-yard touchdown. It's a good matchup for receiving backs, and it's not Bijan, and Bijan's kind of been the guy that's been their primary pass catcher out of the backfield. So his ceiling always just I feel like he should have a ceiling, but for whatever reason he just hasn't shown it yet.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. He's only top 20 fantasy points 3 times. Yeah.
It seems like the type of player he is, he should have broken a couple slates this year, but just never came to fruition.
Who are the Chiefs going with this week? Is it going to be P. Ryan?
Let's see.
I'm not really sure.
I have no clue. That's who's getting the projection.
The information slate, and we're lacking information. I don't think the Chiefs running backs are that important, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, Chargers are bad, though. That's the only reason. If like Pacheco and Clyde are both out or limited.
Yeah, we say that, though, but like, are they going to be playing their guys?
Who?
The Chargers? Like, are they at least going to be first stringers out there?
I know Eckler's in the projections. That's all I've seen.
Yeah, and Eckler has some incentives too. I feel like the Chargers are going to, I mean, it means nothing for them, but I feel like they're going to be out there. So, like, I feel like, I don't know, I'm telling you, I feel like a Joe Mixon, I feel like they're going to play him, and they're going to play him against, like, Cleveland backups.
Maybe they want to see Chase Brown. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe.
I would if I was in.
Kenneth Walker. Yeah. What about Kenneth Walker?
He's a guy I like. Like, they're incentivized. He's probably going to be a little less around than I like just – they need a win. It would make sense versus Arizona. 6,500 for him. I don't mind that tag.
All right, so Zeke, everybody's favorite running back. It's been chalk the last couple of weeks, surprisingly. Anyways, are they gonna play him full speed? You know, first of all, is Belichick gonna go for the win like an idiot? He will. They're gonna try to win this game against the Jets. Zeke has some, but is Belichick smart enough to make sure Zeke doesn't hit any of his bonuses?
He's definitely smart enough.
He gets 300K if he gets, he'll never get this anyway, but if he gets 226 yards from scrimmage.
There's no way.
And he's
My
rich
favorite-
as
Yeah.
can be anyway.
My favorite early in the week was Dalvin Cook needs 1,024 yards to.
Yeah.
That was great on Twitter.
Well, it's funny. Like Derrick Henry needs 286 rushing yards for 500K, and I've heard that one. I've seen that one. Like some of these are just like
He might get it against the Jags. The Jags are going to lose. I already know. They're going to break my heart.
I know that the Jags are definitely losing and the Bills are definitely losing. I can assure you those two.
I need the Bills so badly.
I need the Bills too, man.
I got on their futures at like 35-1, and I kept hitting them up to 25-1.
Isn't this a game that they would lose though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll be the 2 seed or miss the playoffs. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I need it. Don't bring that energy in here.
Sorry.
All right. So Rachaad White, I can get behind for sure. It's crazy.
Nobody's playing.
The Bucs, I know, and the Bucs have everything to play for. They get a home. If they win, they get a home playoff game. They win the division, which is crazy enough. You know who's got a ton of incentives? Baker Mayfield. He's got he can rack up like over $1 million on a bunch of different things.
He deserves it. I've been a Baker hater his whole career, but he's been good.
I think he's been good as well this year. I'm happy to see the resurgence from Baker.
Change of scenery sometimes helps some guys. All right, who are we missing? Realistically, that's like our pool, right? Like we're talking about those guys. Is there anyone out there that you're actually like considering?
For running backs, or are we talking about quarterbacks? Yeah.
Running backs.
No, I think we kind of hit everyone. You play one or two of the chalk guys and get up to one of the guys with incentive to play. If I had to rank them, it'd be Rachaad White, Walker, Kamara, Pollard for me currently. So I guess you could throw James Conner in there. I know he's not incentivized, but I think they're going to try to win that game. So.
Yeah, and just to read, so the chalk is going to be Pierre Strong at 4K, Jordan Mason 4,600, Samir White at 6K. Then it's going to get into guys like Aaron Jones, James Conner. Aaron Jones is 6,300, James Conner 6,100, Tony Pollard 6,500. That's where like the majority of ownership is, and then from there you can get different with any of these other guys we mentioned. I just have a feeling that Joe Mixon's going to have a good game. I may crash and burn.
Do you guys think playing 3 of the punt running backs is bad? Just because it forces you into a lot of the same lineup construction.
That's what I think, that you're kind of pigeonholed into like a similar construction as everyone else. I think it's more what you're playing. Like in smaller field stuff, you're going to want to play these running backs. But in larger field stuff, I think you should make rules around who you're having on teams together.
Yeah, because if you go Rivers, Mason, Strong, then you automatically want to go Lamb and Jefferson. And I'm sure everyone would do that.
Well, so this is the chalk. The chalk lineup is going to be this chalk for like cash games. It's going to be Nick Mullins paired with Justin Jefferson. It's going to have the 2 of the lowest priced back, Jordan Mason, Pierre Strong. Then it's going to have CeeDee Lamb as the top overall projected wide receiver play. And this is all counting on whether Christian Kirk plays. And Christian Kirk, if he plays, he's 3K. He's the minimum. So he's kind of like a free square in a must-win game against a bad passing defense. And then Trey McBride will be used up there at the top. And then it'll be one of those wide receivers, whether it's Aaron Jones, James Conner, Tony Pollard, someone like that. Like that is going to be like the most common build everywhere. Now people are also going to go to Dak, I think. Some people are going to go to Jalen Hurts. Some people will go to Justin Fields. Other than that, like you can get real different if you get off those top 4 quarterbacks. Do you guys, that's a good segue into quarterbacks. So like I said, the top 4 is Mullins, Fields, Hurts, Prescott. Do you guys like any others? Like maybe like Kyler Murray, who's I think will be out there in a competitive game against Seattle's defense. They just can't stop anybody. Kyle, I know Bobby's a short shamer. I know that, but can you look past that for 1 week and dial up some Kyler here?
I can dial up
Taylor.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I can dial up some Kyler. I also like Geno on the other side at 6-1. I think he's interesting. Obviously, they're incentivized to must win. They'll need Green Bay to lose, but I don't know. Versus Arizona, it's a weak team. I think you'd easily play some Geno Smith and some of his pass catchers, I would say. Justin Fields, I don't hate, like 7,200 rushing upside. He's obviously he's either auditioning or he's trying to keep his job. He's auditioning for other teams or he's auditioning for his own team. So he's definitely incentivized to have a good game. Dak, I don't know. The passing game is going to be very chalky. So that's why I was considering more Pollard versus Washington. But like Noto said, everyone's going to kind of get to that CeeDee Lamb build. But I feel like that CeeDee Lamb's fine in this situation. Washington just gets destroyed by the passing game. And their game on Thanksgiving, Dak was going deep downfield literally every chance he got. I wonder if he has any incentives. So I like all his receivers too. Brandon Cooks, CD. Jalen Hurts, they're playing for the 2 seed, but they need Dallas to lose. Letdown game last week, so maybe they try to get right here for the playoffs. And
I think we've been calling them frauds for weeks. And there's some Philly fans in our mentions, but my whole thesis was that it's their defense that's the problem. It's their secondary, and it's true. It's just they can't stop anyone either.
Is it that, or is he just not outside of the tush push? Is he just an average quarterback?
I mean, they have offensive weapons. I mean, an average can be, even if he is an average, I think he's better than average. But if he is average, like, he's good enough, especially with their offensive weapons. But they literally can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, they put up 31 points against the Cardinals, but they gave up 35. Like, morons,
Nick Mullins is chalk. Like, I feel like he's a complete X for me. I can't play that.
Wow. There's a chance he gets benched, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I like him, but
yeah, I mean, who knows? They've been playing quarterback roulette every week.
How bad was Jaren Hall? Jeez,
awful, so bad. And I felt bad. I bet Green Bay that game, and I felt bad. His family being there, they were all there, excited for him and everything. Wasn't
a lot of sites projected him very well.
Yeah, I think most people did. He had that. Oh, he has rushing upside. Justin Fields, I think this is this is their rival. They want to stop Green Bay from getting the playoffs. He wants to put on a good showing for him. He wants to stay there, be the future. And if not, audition, like you said, for other teams. So I feel like Justin Fields would go off. Green Bay's defense, the only thing is they get Yair Alexander back.
Is he good?
I don't know if he's good. And they lost somebody else too.
I don't know if he's good anymore.
I think he's good. We'll see.
I would fire up DJ Moore tomorrow with Fields for sure.
Yeah, I'm still fine with that.
I like Geno.
You should go. Yeah. Must win against Arizona. Great matchup. Weapons. Lockett's cheap. Always go DK. Feel good about that game. I feel good about that game goes off a little bit. So I could definitely get on board there. You got to go back to Tyrod, no?
I feel like I'm just taking my Tyrod money and cashing it out before I give it all back. Been to the casino too many times to know when to cash out. But who's your favorite?
I was there last night.
I haven't been in a while. I missed the casino. But who's your guys' favorite backup that's getting the start this week? I kind of like Sam Darnold.
Oh my God.
I guess because he's attached to Shanahan, I would have the interest in him. I just don't know who would you pair him with?
Yeah. I don't know.
Juwan Jennings, is he even playing?
Driscoll, a min salary, Wentz.
So it's Ronnie Bell, right?
Yeah, Ronnie Bell.
I think they have Chris Conley too, who was
Chris
projected.
Conley. It's Chris Conley, Ronnie Bell, Ray McLeod,
Charlie Warner at tight end.
Oh baby.
Maybe we don't need to play.
The information slate. Here we go.
I mean, do you really feel like Sam Darnold, who, first of all, I was always way too high on Sam Darnold. I played him too much with Robbie Anderson always. So I get it. Like, even if he is like ready to go out there, he's still we're dealing with crap weapons. Although Ronnie Bell is could be good. He scored a touchdown this season, I think. Yeah,
I don't know if I can go Darnold. I think Darnold's terrible.
Yeah. But who else? Let's stay on that theme. Another favorite backup quarterback.
Wentz will have Puka for a little bit.
Yeah, to get his record.
He should just not throw to Puka till the fourth quarter so that he can stay in the game.
Yeah.
How the Easton Stick experience? I'm definitely not going there, but
Ham, Stidham, I don't know it. I don't know. I don't feel great about any of them. Maybe it is Tyrod week.
Tyrod's a good price, 5,300. You're getting that putrid secondary.
You know who's got incentives? Slayton.
Does he?
Music 5 receptions.
Let's go.
5 receptions for $100,000. 42 receiving yards for $100,000.
For a guy like Slayton, I feel like the 200K is in play for him.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's not. I'm sure he's doing just fine, but I'm sure that he would take it. Yeah, I think that's the way to go back. All right. Anyone else you want to mention?
No, that's quarterback.
All right. Wide receiver, here we come. Top play, chalkiest play, because everyone's playing these value running backs. It's going to be the first plugin is going to be CeeDee Lamb. I have nothing bad to say about him. They don't pass to anybody else. It's like just CeeDee, and they probably shouldn't because everyone else kind of stinks besides Ferguson. But 17 targets last game against Detroit was just insane. So this is a big spot for them against a terrible pass defense. CeeDee Lamb touchdown is like, what's the touchdown prop for CeeDee Lamb? It's got to be like minus big. Let's see. Well, I'll look that up.
He was more of a favorite than Pollard when I looked.
Let's see here. Anyways, great spot. Nothing bad to say about him. Touchdown score, CeeDee Lamb. Oh, he is minus 165. That's not too bad. I feel like it's a lock personally, but
wasn't C-Mac minus 700?
400. It was 400. Whoever said 700 was wrong. It got blown out of proportion. He was minus 400 at points.
That's still crazy.
Crashed and burned. So the chalk. CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. Both must-win spots for them. Better quarterback situation for CeeDee Lamb. You can fit both of them very easily. You can feel very good about having the two best wide receivers in your lineups very easily, but is some game theory to talk about. So I'll let you guys talk about that. But other than that, Christian Kirk, if he does suit up, which it looks like he's going to, then he is 3K minute. He's just a free square at 3K. Chris Olave, it should get some ownership. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyler Lockett, DJ Moore, Jaden Reed if he suits up in a must-win spot. You know, their receiver core is very thin. Reed just has been crushing lately whenever he's out there. Richie James is another one of those 3K guys. That's the guy that people are saying to play from Kansas City. I don't have a take on it personally, but anyway, AJ Brown, Pop Douglas. These are all guys that are going to get some ownership. DeAndre Hopkins has a bunch of incentives. I'll get into that once Noto gives me his favorite plays. What do you like?
Yeah, I'm eating the chalk with Lamb and Jefferson. I think they're the top 2 projected guys on the slate that aren't quarterbacks, and you can get them easily. So I'll just eat the chalk there. Kirk, we have to wait and see. If he ends up being out, I think Ridley becomes a very good play against that pass funnel. I don't think a lot of people, even if Kirk plays, I think Ridley's a great leverage play there. He's obviously not as good of a point per dollar option, but he's got the more upside. What I don't get, everyone is projecting Tyler Lockett really well, and I get it's a good matchup. He just hasn't done anything. Gino's kind of preferred DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba the last few weeks, so I'll probably be underweight on Lockett. And then I like the spot for Olave in tournaments. He burned me pretty bad last week against the Bucks, but must-win game for them, so I think he could be interesting. And then you mentioned A.J. Brown. No Devontae Smith. He was just ruled out before we started recording. So the Eagles do need to win. I don't know how long they're going to be out there if they end up this has got to be the get-right spot for them, right? They've been so bad the last few weeks. They got to get some momentum going into the playoffs. So I think A.J. Brown's a real good play.
I think Tyrod's going to put up points. I'm going to guarantee him 20-point minimum, like your guarantee last week. I'm going to piggyback on that. I think that this game could shoot out. I think the Giants could put up some resistance here in this one. What do you like, Bobby?
Yeah, so CD is obviously my favorite, probably followed by DJ Moore. I think I'm going to be under on Jefferson. I'd rather play Amon-Ra, same game on the other side, maybe slightly less ownership, or A.J. Brown, like you guys said, versus Giants. The Giants get no pass rush. Feel like that's when A.J. Brown kind of succeeds. When Hurts isn't, he succeeds every week. But when Hurts has to get the ball out of his hand quickly, it's usually going to Devontae Smith or Goddard. But when he has time, he's going A.J. Brown. So I like A.J. Brown a good bit. And yeah, I feel like I'm going to be under on Jefferson. Metcalf at 7,200. Think he's very strong as well. No Olave for me. Maybe that's a bad decision. Derek Carr, I just can't play wide receivers attached to Derek Carr.
In my head, I faded Olave on Yahoo, and I ended up getting screwed on Noah Brown. But in my head, I was like, I know Taysom's gonna vulture a touchdown here in like the passing game, and he got like that pass, and it happened, and I knew.
And Juwan, Taysom,
that was a nice catch, by the way, by that fade route to the corner to Taysom. Yeah, that sucks that he vultured that, but yeah, both tight ends, Juwan Johnson all year, everyone's best ball tight end goes off week 17. What are the chances? Jaden Reed, like we talked about the incentives for Jordan Love, so I think he's in play at 5,700. Lockett's there at 56. Any value guys that you guys have interest in? Wandale, I didn't play last week, and then he finally had a ceiling game.
I clicked off of him on DK. I had him, and I pivoted to get up to somebody who was awful in the 4K.
I just think Wandale's a miserable play like every week, but I don't know.
He smashed. I knew I was so mad about that.
I was mad.
One of them was a rushing touchdown. He didn't even catch it. It was like end around.
Yeah, why couldn't they just let Tyrod just give him the little 1-yard pass instead of behind the line? Yeah.
Mahomes knows to get his stats up. He does the flip. You just got to do the flip. Don't do the handoff. Do the flip. You get the touchdown.
I know. Maybe
always. Also, if like you pass it, if you do a backwards pass, it doesn't count. That's like a pass. It's called a backwards pass. You know what I think why Tyler Lockett? I just remember, like, I always had a thing for playing him against Arizona. He went off for like 56 fantasy points against Arizona one time. Smashed him, like has a career of smashing.
I actually remember that game. It was like a Sunday night game, correct?
I think it was a late afternoon. I think it was like the 4 o'clocks.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If I remember.
I remember everyone went Metcalf and Lockett was the pivot, and Lockett smashed.
And he didn't stop. It's crazy. All right. Yeah, let's so Ronnie Bell looks like he's going to be the wide receiver one for San Francisco for the cheap guys. Christian Kirk, we already said it's 3K. Richie James looks like he's going to get some ownership because he could be the cheap guy for KC. Chris Conley, Noto mentioned potential. Wandale is there, and he does have some decent upside, especially on a slate like this against that secondary. Their secondary is just trash. But I'm with you. I do like DJ Moore. I got nothing bad to say about him. Oh, I want to go over the nuke incentives because I think they're actually real. So let me pull that up. Okay, so if DeAndre Hopkins, he needs 7 receptions for 250K. He needs 39 receiving yards for another 250K. He needs 2 receiving touchdowns for another 250K. So he's got 750 grand on the table there that is attainable. The 2 touchdowns may be a little bit tough, but 39 receiving yards, absolutely easy. And 7 receptions is a thing that can be done, especially with Tannehill. So are you guys high on him or not?
I like those incentives. I didn't really dive into them. I think they make sense. 750K is a lot of cash, though. Yeah, I don't hate him. Maybe I prefer more to Lockett now in that range. Is Lockett in that range? Whereas Hopkins is at 6'1",
Lockett's 500. 500 is nothing on this slate.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the Hopkins call.
Devontae Adams, any interest?
No Adams for me.
He crushed last week, right?
After a 40 burger. 21. We got 21 targets.
Does he have any incentives? What are his incentives?
I don't think he has any incentives, but I think that they just want to win for their coach and build for next year. So I think they're going to be playing full speed ahead against Denver.
What are we doing with Chalk Christian Kirk?
Probably just depends on your build, right? Like
if he's playing it, is he a decoy at all if he's playing, or is he like
he's 3K? Like he's an extremely hard fade for me.
Yeah.
I mean, he could put up 30 fantasy points.
Price up bad.
Just don't play him with all the other chalk, I think.
Yeah, this is where like you have to think through these rules for
Like I ran a 150 just to see and I put some variance in it, randomness, and I got 65% Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I kind of hope he's out, so I don't have.
Yeah, I hope he's out too. I would rather not have to think about it.
There's no way I'm fading a Christian Kirk. I have to.
Yeah, at 3K, I'm locking him. If he's playing and he's 3K, he's getting locked.
Anybody with that name is in my lineup if they're remotely viable. And the thing, I stopped playing golf when Chris Kirk. It's Chris Kirk.
Chris Kirk. He won me the 200K. That was it.
I used to play him religiously I played him every single slate because of my name, and then I stopped playing golf, and he started smashing.
Yeah, he's playing well this week.
He won the Sony. He won the Sony 3 years ago. Noto had the call, I think.
All right, I'm just trying to do our best to see if I'm missing anybody from incentive standpoint. I don't know. That seems pretty good list of wide receivers. Let's move on over to tight end. So tight end, the chalk is going to be Trey McBride because you can feel good that they're going to be playing. He's got the highest target ceiling for tight ends on the slate. He's got probably the highest ceiling from projection on the slate. And he's very easy to get to with Christian Kirk. So like I said, that chalk lineup is going to be so common, and there's going to be so many just small variations of that from that. And Trey McBride is going to be played earlier. Now tight end is a high variance position, so we could probably beat it, and so we should probably look. So the other guy is Jake Ferguson, who's been pretty solid all year, some highs and lows, but not so bad. And, when he finds the end zone, he usually smashes. So I think there's a good chance he finds the end zone in this game against Washington. So Ferguson at 4,900 and is in play. Noah Gray is going to get some ownership. People are talking him up as the Kelsey role this week. I don't know. He's 2,500. So again, if you play someone like him and you have Christian Kirk, you can, maybe that's what you do you just try to leave some salary on their table if you're playing Christian Kirk and try to go down at tight end. I don't know. It's just a thought. There's Evan Ingram in a must-win game. You guys think Lawrence is going to play? I think he's going to play.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he plays and they still lose.
Yeah.
Not until he cuts his hair, right, Bobby?
Not until he cuts his hair. Great. He shouldn't have that hair. Great hair. And he should cut that hair because he doesn't deserve hair like that. I used to have long hair once upon a time.
You should do the little
the man bun? No, I didn't.
Yeah. Never? Did you ever have the as a kid growing up, the rat tail?
No, but I was thinking about doing it for my kid.
Bringing it back. I want my kid to have it. I've argued over
mullet with the rat tail.
I just want the rat tail.
I just cut my kid's mullet.
Yeah, mullet.
Little Noto had a mullet for the last year. Just cut it.
I think that's a sick haircut for a kid. Like I definitely want to look back on pictures and have a mullet.
Yeah.
Dude, the rat tail has been gone for so long. It needs to be brought back.
Yeah, it could easily be brought back. I think it's definitely up for it's how everything kind of comes back around.
Mm-hmm.
The rat tail's time is coming back. I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. So there's Johnny Munt in the good game. That's a great game environment. Minnesota, Detroit should be in the dome. So I understand why people are going there with Hawkinson's out. He did get 7 targets last week, had a touchdown. Rike, I think he will definitely get some work. Then there's Laporta, there's Chig, there's Gerald Everett, there's Dallas Goedert. I probably like Goddard.
You definitely like Goddard.
Yeah, I'm looking at his ownership, and maybe they're off on this, but he's not projecting for much ownership at all.
They can't cover the tight end, so you want some Dallas Goedert tomorrow.
If that ownership is even remotely sticky, like I have him like around 5% right now. If that's like 5, if he's even like remotely anywhere around there, then I think he's a smash play.
It'll probably go up with Devontae out.
Yeah, good point.
But I still like him.
Yeah, and then I don't know. The Kittle replacement is going to be Charlie Warner. You mentioned him. You mentioned him already, no?
Yeah.
Big. I know nothing about Charlie Warner.
Neither do I.
6th round pick out of Georgia. Only Niners tight end besides Kittle, who was drafted. All right, there he is.
Got 1 catch this season.
Yeah, it sounds good.
100% catch rate.
How about that Rams tight end, Allen?
Yeah, Davis Allen. I like Harrison Bryant too.
What'd you say?
I said, yeah, Davis Allen's good. Harrison Bryant playing with Driscoll.
Wait. Can Driscoll hit him?
I don't know. I kind of like Driscoll though.
Is Driscoll gonna throw?
He runs a ton.
All right.
Yeah. Should we think about rules around like these chalk guys? Like, what are you guys thinking for rules? If you put like Mason, Strong, Christian Kirk, Munt at most.
Well, I think you would. Yeah, if you do like if you're playing Christian Kirk at most one of Jefferson or CD Lamb, probably, yeah. or maybe even throw Trey McBride in there too.
Yeah.
One of those 3, because you can't put 2 of those that you're just going to get fed. You're going to get fed CD and Jefferson in every single lineup you're going to get for the most part.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you get the chalk right tomorrow, you're going to be in a good spot. So just make sure your rules are correct. I think that's a really good one.
All right. You got any more? Any others you want to say, or should we let you go out on top with the Bobby Gomes defensive segment, Week 18 edition?
Yeah, last week I did pretty good on my defenses. Had the Bills and who is the Texans? Looks like the Bengals are going to be pretty chalky at 3K. You know what? I wouldn't mind paying the 4,100 for the Cowboys defense tomorrow. Spending up, being a little different.
Yeah, we have money.
Yeah,
we've got money to spend.
3-6 versus the Jets. Like we talked about, I think we talked about it prior to the show, or maybe right when we hopped on. Like Belichick's probably going to try to win this game tomorrow. So I think if you want to spend some cash on defense, I think that's fine.
So you know who's going to be chalk? The Chargers. Against KC, because the Chargers are going to be playing their guys.
Blaine Gabbert. I like that.
Yeah. So they'll be the chalk. The Bengals, the Pats, Jags.
What if Blaine Gabbert learned something from Tom Brady and is actually good tomorrow?
It's better than Mahomes has been. It won't take much.
It wouldn't take much. No, not at this point.
Well, if we complain that Mahomes has no weapons, right?
He did it to himself, though, with that contract. He did it to himself. You have to.
I know, but now you're throwing in Blaine Gabbert with all backups.
Yeah, but they're playing like we hit on. They're playing the Chargers. It's like.
Yeah, but the Chargers at least will have the first stringers out there.
They got their
defense. Yeah. We should hit on weather. So we should talk. So weather. So the Giants game has some lingering rain or snow showers. We have a big storm coming tomorrow in New England. I know Bobby's going to be hitting the grocery store in a few minutes today.
Costco.
Is that on the agenda? Yeah. If you want to wait in a
3
hour line.
Yeah, my girlfriend's going to her family, so I basically have the day to myself, but no food. So maybe I should go to Costco.
No, you got food all around you. A little takeout for you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Jets, New England. So that's going to be some iffy weather. So we're going to get some snow Saturday night. Roth says a brief bout of rain early Sunday morning, then transitioning back to snow Sunday around game time. So big winds, staying 20 to 25 mile per hour winds. Gusts could be 40, 50 miles per hour. So that sounds pretty bad from a weather standpoint. I know we're not high on any of these guys anyway. I mean, maybe we just take Zeke or Breece Hall just for their touches. But other than that, the Philly Giants game has some lingering rain and snow showers are possible. A little bit of winds too, but nothing like the Jets with Jets New England. Does that scare you at all in Philly, New York, Noto?
Yeah, a little bit. But anytime I react to the weather, it's a bad decision. So probably just gonna not even look at the weather tomorrow.
I just realized Roth has that. Maybe this is going to be a horrible thing to say, but Roth has weather edge for NFL. I didn't know we had that all year.
No, we don't have weather. There's weather edge for NFL.
Yeah, Kirk, there has to be a competing model here, right?
I mean, no. We're the big news for my dew point systems. We're gonna have weather sims. We're launching next year, so keep an eye out. Yeah, you're right. It's up there. I've never seen.
It's up there, right? Did anyone else? Yeah. Did you guys realize this? I didn't know this all year. I didn't even think to look.
All right, Noto. How do we put a bow on this slate? What's the stack of the day?
Yeah, I don't think I'm stacking as much as I normally would, just because the only stack I really like is like the Dak and CD, but everyone else you don't really need to stack. I was just playing around with the build. If you play those 3 cheap running backs, you can get CD, Jefferson, and Antonio Brown. So a lot's going to be chalky there, but then you get
Antonio Brown.
AJ Brown. Yeah.
I don't know if you want Antonio Brown at this point.
I heard he's
what a
like,
way to go off, huh?
Yeah.
When he went at halftime.
He obviously has CTE, right? Like, there's no question about it.
yeah. Way to derail the show there, Noto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
You
you
don't-
get stacked too much.
We don't need bringbacks, right? Like some of the.
I'm going Slate and Tyrod.
I like that.
Bring it back, baby.
I like that a lot. Let's see who I got here. Oh, I'm gonna go Justin Fields. Give me the Justin Fields. Gonna show the world that like he's legit in this must-win, and they beat Green Bay to exit LaFleur, who's gonna be look with this crazy look on the sidelines, like what the hell just happened? But because he didn't use Aaron Jones enough in the passing game.
Just get him 12 yards. That's all I need.
Yeah, I'll hammer that with you too. So that's my guy. I mean, I probably will play Aaron Jones as the bring back or Jaden Reed in that. I will. So I think on the games that I expect to be competitive, I'll use like the put a bring back on. But like any of these like trash second stringer games, like you just got to pick the right plays. You do not need bring backs. I think that's the way I'll approach it. But all right, any final words for the people, Bobby?
No, make sure to tune in next week. We're not done. This wasn't our last show. So good luck, everyone, and see you for the divisional round.
We're going to crush divisional round. Noto, final words.
Yeah, good luck on the Saturday slate. Use those winnings. Put them all on the Sunday slate. Last big slate of the year. So it's a good time. It's a good time for cash games, I hear. I don't know if I'm going to enter the cash game streets, but that's been a bit going around. The Pete Overzet bit's been real good to watch.
Yep. Bobby, you like the Pete Overzet bit?
I hate cash games. I will refuse to play them. Haven't played them in 6 years. Will not play them.
Not a cash game. No cash game, bro, here.
No.
All right. This has been the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, week 18 edition. We will catch you back next week for divisional round, and then we'll be the season. But good luck, everybody. Hope you guys all crush, and we'll see you back next week. Thank you.